Hey guys, what's going on? So today I want to talk real quick about a comment, actually a question that I got from one of our subscribers by the name of KB. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, I worked in law enforcement for 32 years. I retired as a police captain here in New Jersey back in February of 2018. And KB left a question. He wanted my opinion on whether I thought that police officers and or people that are trying to become police officers should be required to lift weights. Now, a lot of people might be of the opinion that, well, being a cop isn't that much of a physical job. And on the surface, you know, I guess you could make that case. But I will say that in my experience, there were many times that being a cop went from being the most boring job you could ever imagine to the most exciting job you could ever imagine in a split second. And it happened many, many times in the course of my career. One of the first experiences I had was I was with a partner and we were on patrol, middle of the night, about 3 o'clock in the morning. And we see a guy go through a red light. We see a car go through a red light. We went to stop the car. Quickly turned into a high-speed pursuit up and down the city streets. Turned out to be a stolen car. The guys crashed it. They took out about 5 parked cars. Came out of it uninjured. They got out and they ran. My partner and I ran after either one of them. I didn't catch my guy. I did catch his shoe. He ran out of his sneakers, and my partner caught his guy, but that was because he got caught up on a fence trying to jump over somebody's fence in a backyard. But to this day, I still have a Polaroid shot, and actually, it was that long ago that they did have Polaroid cameras. The guys at headquarters thought it was hysterical that the guy got away, but I did manage to catch his shoe. But my point is that, you know, you do have to be both mentally and physically prepared to go from 0 to 60 in that split second. And I could tell you this, you know, if you go to make an arrest, and I don't care, male, female, you know, tall, short, if somebody doesn't want to get handcuffed, they're not going to let themselves get handcuffed. So, you know, it's not like TV where you just go to every bad guy and say, okay, turn around and put your hands behind your back, and they listen. Most don't. So you do have to be physically prepared for the job. Now, here in New Jersey, in order to get hired as a cop, you take a written exam, and then there is a physical exam that they administer. Now, I know it's changed quite a bit over the years since I took it years ago, but right now, at last check, I believe it's you do some push-ups, X amount of push-ups within a certain time. You do sit-ups within X amount within a certain time. And then there's a run, a 1.5 mile run that's also timed. And you have to pass that, do, you know, the stated amount, and do the run within those certain times in order to get hired. Then if you do make it past that initial stage, then you'll go to a police academy where there's, you know, training. Part of it's physical training, and then you take another physical test in order to graduate from the academy. Now, I'm going to be honest, you know, back when I was hired, we weren't in the middle of an obesity epidemic the way we are today. So I know, just in looking at the standards that they have now, I know they did ease the standards a little bit, you know, the physical part of it. But regardless of what those standards are, I think there should be no leeway. There should be no question. You either pass that or you're not hired, okay? Now, I know recently here in New Jersey, there was some controversy because they were saying that more and more women are coming on the job. When I first started, there really were no women, and then over the, you know, over the course of the years that I worked, more and more women were coming on. But the claim now is that a lot of the women are failing the physical part of the hiring test at a much higher rate than males are. So of course there were calls for, well, we should change the test and we should make one for women and one for men. I don't agree with that. You know, to her credit, there was one high-ranking female police official that testified. She acknowledged there was a difference, but she said that, you know, there should be just different training. The test should be the same, and I agree with that 1,000%. You know, over the course of my career, we used to have to do annually. We would do twice a year. We did firearms training. We did domestic violence training, use of force training, all sorts of training throughout the year. There were never double standards for that. And I don't think there should be double standards for the requirements to come on the job. We all got paid the same. When women were hired, they weren't hired at a different pay scale. Women were promoted the same way the men were. So there were no differences there. I don't think there should be any difference coming on the job or, you know, in the police academy. So just to backtrack to KB's pinpoint his question, should they be made to lift weights? Well, let's put it this way, KB. There's standards, there's physical standards. They have to be met when you're hired. They have to be met when you're in a police academy. If you lift weights to meet those standards, that's fine. If you don't, that's still fine. But you should be physically fit enough to pass those tests. Now, I just want to make another point, because this was something that stuck in my craw for many years when I was on the job. So I watched throughout the years, you know, as this obesity epidemic got worse and worse and worse. It affected, you know, my family, my friends, my coworkers. You know, when it comes to a job like that I had, I think that those physical standards should be in place, not just to get hired, not just to get out of the police academy, but I think they should be in place for as long as you hold that position. You know, I know years back they deemed obesity a disease. So I don't see something like that ever sticking. In other words, I don't think that they could implement these standards and say that you have to meet a physical standard or take a physical test every year, every 2 years in order to keep this job. I just think in the litigious society that we live in today, you know, it wouldn't stand, unfortunately. So I think that the physical fitness part of the job, I don't think you can mandate it right now, but I think it's up to each and every person that has the job. You know, it's a matter of safety. It could be a matter of life and death. And it's just a matter of self-pride. You know, if you're going to take a job like that and you're going to be walking around in a uniform, you know, you're representing the department that you work for, but more importantly, you're representing yourself, you know? And again, it's not only that, but it's, you know, there are times where it could be a matter of life and death. And why wouldn't you prepare as best you can, you know, to be in that position? You know, so that's just my opinion on that. And, you know, I've always been a proponent of the physical fitness, and I think it's good to have stringent standards to take the job, to get on the job. I think they should be there to keep the job. I don't see that happening, unfortunately, but that's my take on it. So KB, I appreciate your support. I appreciate always being there, your comments and questions. Keep it up. And everybody else, stay fit, get fit, make sure you get your reps in, and I'm going to talk to you in the next one. Thanks.